and journalist for nearly a decade and has spent many hours in the field investigating phenomena up close and personal. Alejandro has been interviewed by media organizations around the world, including the large cable and network news agencies, as well as several appearances on Coast to Coast AM. I want to thank, with great gratitude, Mr. Alejandro Rojas onto the program.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all the nice words. I'm honored to have another fan, and glad to see people are out there looking at what we're doing.
Yeah, especially in our remote corner of the world. We're Atlantic Canada's only paranormal / expanding consciousness exo-political broadcast, and, we needed a voice. So here I am. I've been interviewing a lot of the top dogs in the field, and actually, Alejandro, right after this interview, I'm talking to Yvonne Smith this afternoon, and she wanted me to say hello.
Oh, great. Yes, tell her hello, too. She's a wonderful person.
Yeah, she really is. I've been a huge fan of Open Minds magazine. The magazine is brilliant, man. Like the high gloss pages, the amazing content. You've got an amazing... This is Justin Brown of Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast, The Unified Field. And this is a brand new mic, the ART ribbon mic. So let's see what it sounds like, shall we? Got my new copy here soon. I don't have it yet, but kudos on that, Alejandro.
Thank you so much. We're actually shipping out the 6th issue, we're working on the 6th issue, so we're almost a year into this, which is pretty exciting. It's been fast and furious, and yeah, it's been a great pleasure. I mean, working with Antonio Huneos, who's been in this for decades. He's a very professional journalist and has been a lot of fun. And, when we attacked it, just like Antonio typically does, and me having a MUFON background, I discovered with MUFON is that there is a bigger appetite out there for this information and being given to them in the way they're used to getting this sort of information, in a Newsweek fashion or in a more newsy CNN type of fashion, where they're getting the information, they're getting the credible information, and then they're making their minds up for themselves. And really, people seem to like that. So that was the vision we brought to it. But then we were lucky to have this incredible creative department that does these great graphic designs. And so it also visually came out wonderful. So it's been a win-win, and people are really liking the magazine, which is wonderful. And it's a lot of work, and it's glad that people are enjoying the fruits of our effort.
Yeah, definitely. You're right about that graphic design. It's just unparalleled in other media of the same type. That's one of the attractions for me. Aside from the thick and amazing content, the graphic design really, really is above par, for sure.
Well, I think that's one thing with this field. It's kind of like, I feel we kind of bring it out of the closet a bit. Typically, funds are very limited in this field. It's a very grassroots type of thing. And so often what has been done out there kind of reflects that. Unfortunately, some of the magazines or things that have been done in the past, they don't look up to par. They don't look like a National Geographic or a major magazine. And so it's great to be able to put this stuff in that format, so that, everything is more professional. I think, this field is growing, and depending on which polls you look at, 30 to 50% of the public's very interested in this field, and they need information. And that's a lot of people. That's millions of people out there. So I think if you can give it to them in a way that they're used to getting it, in the way they enjoy getting it, they're going to be more likely to read it and to digest the information, and still, decide what they think is legitimate and what isn't, and what may be real and what isn't, because we're all trying to figure that out in our own way. But we're doing that with our conference and with our website. We're putting a look and feel to all of this that is more professional and is more on par with what corporations are doing, so that it doesn't feel like we're in mom's basement, or like we're like the lone gunman from X-Files and we're hiding in the dark. But that we're being bold and coming out and, hey, this is a legitimate field. It's something that we can and should talk about, and we're not going to be afraid to do that.
Well, it's just what the doctor ordered in this arena. It's about time. It's that day and age where, it really needs to be delivered in the package that you do. Alejandro, I didn't realize you are such a busy guy. It must be like, what is it? Is it 8:30 or 9:30 out there in Arizona right now?
9:30.
Wow, thanks for getting up so early for me.
Oh, no problem.
Especially on Sunday. Wow. What I was going to say is I used to listen to, I still do, Jesse Randolph over at UFOnaut. That's how I first heard about you, Alejandro.
Yeah.
And it was, you did such a great job over there, and Jesse does a great job too. You're such a positive influence. I really enjoy your perspective. I find a lot of people in this field, they can be, not my experience so far, everybody's been very nice and willing, but they can be very self-interested and or a little bit rude because of the way that the topics have been pigeonholed into crazydom, for lack of better vernacular, So when I heard you on there, I realized you had the Open Minds Radio, and to be perfectly honest, I just started listening about last month, and I'm hooked. Like back-to-back episodes, it's Rojas every single day. I just love it. So,
well, great, thank you.
Yeah, a good plug for that. I want to talk about the conference in a bit, but I guess where I'm going with this is the beginnings for you. You're a super busy and industrious guy. You're very passionate in the field of ufology, exopolitics, and truth seeking. I guess we could go back for you with your family history in the San Luis Valley. Am I right in saying so? And you're interested in this topic?
Yeah, definitely. My family was, and I grew up in Denver, but roots in the San Luis Valley. And, Chris O'Brien is someone who's got a book out there on the San Luis Valley and has done a lot of research. But the valley is very strange. A lot of strange things, from UFO sightings to strange creatures being sighted, all kinds of different stuff. And that, along with, then my grandpa being Native American from that area, and that area is a mix of Native American and Mexican and others that came into the area prior to it being even a part of the United States or Colorado. So it's kind of this interesting area that's similar to New Mexico, has a lot of roots out there. But, Native Americans, of course, have a different perspective about the paranormal and unknown, and very open to all of what might be out there. And so that was something I never lost, that I never wanted to lose, is to have that open mind and to not necessarily dismiss things, because really, even though I was into engineering, and that was my first major, it's not scientific to just automatically dismiss things. In fact, I was watching a show last night on whales, and the scientist made a good point that a lot of people have the wrong idea about science. They think it's black and white, when actually it's all gray. Really, you have a hypothesis, an idea that you work on, but the root of science is, even if you have a law, it's nothing solid, nothing's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything is a theory that's being worked on, and it's a never-ending process to decide whether or not even gravity is real or not, or the nature of it. So I think that's what, these days, even the scientists buy into this black and whiteness, that everything's black and white and it's this and that. This can't exist because this is the rule that we've set up. And it's very unscientific in that respect. So I've always kept that open mind and felt that that was part of science. And eventually I came to find out, or for me, discover that, wow, this whole UFO thing, there's really something to it, and the media is not covering it. And I felt compelled to do what I can to cover it.
Yeah, I hear that. And that reminds me of a lot of statements by everybody here in the news. Hawking's absurd statements that some people might not think are absurd. There's some good points he makes, but Shostak, a lot of these guys, Bill Nye, they just jump to these silly conclusions without actually analyzing the data. That's like what Friedman says all the time. They don't analyze the data, right? Because of this
That's
preconceived
what's
notion.
incredible, too.
Yeah.
I talked with Shostak not too long ago. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a great speaker. He's one of these wonderful speakers, people that I don't know if you haven't seen him speak, that really get you interested in astronomy and science. So he's a great representative for that sort of thing. But like I asked, when in my interview, he's like, well, astronomers, they don't believe in UFOs. Astronomers don't see UFOs. And I told him, well, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
In fact, Peter Sturrock, an astronomer, did some polls where he found that similar to the public, just as many astronomers see UFOs, and he had a lot of astronomers coming to him wanting to help him with his UFO work. So they don't even look into, they make these statements without looking into the facts, and it's a very curious, it's a big mystery to me why they don't look into it. If they're so adamant about debunking it and being skeptical about it, why don't they do the work first?
Yeah.
Look into these cases, look into the details. There's great books out there like Richard Dolan's book, and now Leslie Kean's book. These books that put the information together for you. Even the Rockefeller document, which Antonio worked on, and has been out for decades.
Yeah.
These things put all the evidence for you in a easy to read and very credible way, but they don't look at the evidence at all before they get out there and they start poo-pooing all of it.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question too, Alejandro, is, why is this information being shaped this way unless there was some darker, well, darker is a bad adjective, some other ulterior motive for shaping this world of the unknown in a way that, it's crazy, it's foolishness, blah, 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 blah. Otherwise, these people would be studying this stuff and looking at it, and instead of poo-pooing it, basically, right? It's getting better with, like you said, people like Leslie Kean, Michio Kaku, in the corner now talking about the possibility. That's the key word, possibility, right? So there's obviously some sort of alternative agenda, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. I mean, I don't know if it's as prevalent as some people think, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
One of the interviews I've done, which I'm going to air on Monday, is with Linda Howe.
Oh, I love her.
She discusses this entire affair that she had in Albuquerque at Kirtland Air Force Base, where they brought her onto the base and they showed her these documents. She believed these documents were real, but it essentially talked about UFOs and aliens and our ancestry and how aliens have been here for thousands of years, and Jesus may have been an alien, and
wow,
all of this stuff that's an Air Force document.
Yeah.
And it was given to her by this gentleman named Doty, who's done this before. He was actually involved with getting the MJ-12 documents out. And he's definitely a disinformationist who's putting information out there. At this time, he was in the Air Force, working for Air Force intelligence. He still seems to be doing that now that he's out. He was behind the Serpo documents and getting those out. A lot of the more wilder things. He was the guy on one of the really big first television shows who didn't display his face, UFOs Live, in like 1980s.
Wow.
And he said that aliens liked strawberry ice cream, which of course people made fun of and laughed. And it's all fodder for making jokes about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
He's someone who's definitely worked on a campaign to spread disinformation and to help make this field look silly. And I think he's been very effective. I don't think he was working alone, but it demonstrates that we know for a fact there at least has been a campaign by someone who is Air Force intelligence to do just that.
Well, that's interesting you say that because I've subscribed to Earth Files. I think I've heard every single one of them. She hasn't done any lately because I think she's busy with Whitley Strieber and Dreamland as a correspondent there. But this story blows my mind about Linda Howe going to meet this individual at the airbase. I don't think I even heard of that until the last few months. I think the first time I heard it was maybe from you on the radio program, Open Minds. Very interesting.
Yeah, I wrote a little bit about it because I interviewed her and I recorded it to show it, to play it on the show, but also when I was putting together a profile